This is another episode about Goofy Gang, Chicago's most dangerous street organization.
Chicago police records show that 20 people have been shot in the 1600 block of West Howard, which is in the Rogers Park neighborhood of Chicago, over the past 2 years. Last week, police arrested a man from Evanston named Lamont Vaughn, 37, who was detained while awaiting trial on charges of reckless discharge of a firearm for a shootout on September 30th at around 10:25 p.m. Video footage of the incident showed quite a few people on the street, which is just east of the Howard CTA station, as the shooting began. The recording showed two men standing next to a bike by an alley, as Vaughn approached them with his hand on his waistband. When he got within about 15 or 20 feet of the alley, one of the men near the bike pulled out a firearm and started shooting at him. Vaughn quickly ran for cover behind parked cars on the opposite side of Howard Street. People on the block ran for safety as the shootout began. Sparks flew off Howard Street as bullets struck the pavement one after another. As soon as the would-be victim emerged on the sidewalk behind parked cars, a gun was already visible in his hands. Vaughn fired shot after shot at the initial gunman, who had taken cover in the alley. Last week, prosecutors said 2 Chicago police officers recognized Vaughn from surveillance video of the shootout. After arresting him on Tuesday afternoon, December 10th in Evanston, police allegedly found a glass jar containing a green leafy substance believed to be cannabis in the center console of his Mercedes SUV. For those that don't know, Evanston is a wealthy Chicago suburb best known as the home of Northwestern University. Driving his Mercedes-Benz from Evanston to Rogers Park in Chicago for a shootout makes Lamont Vaughn a goofy, but we have 3 more Goofy Gang members fighting for the position of King Goofy on today's show, so stay tuned.
A man who robbed a McDonald's customer at gunpoint on the west side was hospitalized after the restaurant's patrons ganged up on him and beat him until Chicago police arrived, officials said. And, prosecutors claim, it was the second time in 10 days that the gunman had robbed the same victim, inside the same restaurant. The first robbery occurred on November 13th inside the McDonald's at 5153 West Chicago Avenue. Prosecutors said, Ahmad Johnson, 21, entered the restaurant and demanded a 46-year-old man's property while showing a gun in his waistband. Johnson proceeded to pistol whip the victim, and made the victim take off his pants, pause.
Was gay. Why should I have to apologize?
Before escaping with the man's
gay,
phone,
so I said
wallet,
gay.
and $500 cash, according to the state's detention petition. Then, around 5:30 p.m. on November 23rd, Johnson returned to the restaurant, pointed a loaded handgun at the same victim, and took his cash. But this robbery ended a little differently. According to a CPD report, Johnson was tackled, held on the floor, and beaten by unknown bystanders until police arrived. Officers arrived to find Johnson lying face down on the floor with a crowd of individuals holding him down and kicking him about the head. The cops detained Johnson, recovered a firearm and extended magazine from him, and dispersed the crowd to prevent the offender from sustaining further injuries, according to the police report. Surveillance cameras recorded the incident. Johnson, who was bleeding from the head and mouth and complained of abdominal pain, was taken to Mount Sinai Hospital in fair condition. If you agree that Ahmad Johnson is King Goofy for a day, then please put some pressure on that like button, subscribe to the Cartoon News Network, the real CNN, but hold on because we have 2 more shocking stories of Chicago goons caught in the act.
The decision to carjack a couple at gunpoint because the driver of his car was going too slow and he wanted to get home has landed a Chicago man in federal prison. Naren Kane, 27, received a sentence of 10 years and 5 months from U.S. District Judge John Blakey upon pleading guilty to carjacking and using a firearm during the commission of a violent crime. On August 25, 2022, Kane and a friend were passengers in a car when Kane became upset because the driver was going too slow, federal prosecutors said. So, with the help of the other passenger, Kane carjacked 2 people as they were all sitting inside a Kia Optima in the 2600 block of West Division. Prosecutors said Kane pointed a rifle at the car's 27-year-old driver, while his accomplice pointed a handgun at a 23-year-old woman in the passenger seat. Illinois State Police troopers intercepted the hijacked Kia on the Dan Ryan Expressway and tried to pull it over. Cain drove faster than 120 miles per hour on the highway and eventually crashed while trying to make a high-speed turn at 87th and State. At the police station, Cain allegedly told cops that the mother of his child told him that he would never see his kids again if he did not arrive by a certain time. So, instead of telling his driver to hurry up, he callously pointed a rifle at two individuals and stole their 2011 Kia Optima, prosecutors wrote in a sentencing memorandum. Prosecutors recommended a 125-month sentence, which is exactly what he received, but this story ain't over if you think that Naren Cain is a goofy who got exactly what he deserved. Cain's defense attorney said he is now engaged to the woman who threatened to keep his kids from him if he didn't get to her crib immediately, the mother of his sons ages 2 and 4. Cain's own father was murdered when he was young, but his mother, a nurse, raised him well, and he was surrounded by good people, the lawyer wrote. Cain earned a high school diploma and briefly attended college before dropping out. Spending nearly 3 years in custody since being arrested has put him on a different path, according to his attorney, who recommended a 96-month sentence. The goofy gang member accused of being Cain's accomplice, Alan Clay, is also charged federally. His case is still active.
In a stunning set of allegations under the R. Kelly Act, prosecutors are claiming that a parole agent visiting the residence of a man on parole for child pornography found the parolee pleasuring himself with his pants lowered while on a video call with a 14-year-old girl. Julio Rodriguez, is 30, has been detained as a safety threat and for a parole violation warrant by Judge Anthony Rivera. Records show Rodriguez was slapped with a 20-count child pornography indictment in 2022, allegations that he put behind him by pleading guilty to a single count on August 16. Judge Michael Clancy sentenced the creep to 3 years, but after receiving the state's standard 50% sentence reduction in credit for time spent on an ankle monitor, Rodriguez spent no time in prison. The pervert entered and departed the Stateville Correctional Center on August 20th. On Thursday, December 5th, a parole agent went to Rodriguez's halfway house in the 8100 block of South Cottage Grove because the weirdo failed to report his living arrangements after being instructed to do so. When the agent entered Rodriguez's room, they found his dumbass with his pants down, engaged in a sex act, while holding his phone in one hand and holding, you know what, in his other hand, prosecutors said in a written proffer. Rodriguez dropped the phone on his mattress with the screen still on, which allowed the agent to see he was on a video call with a young female. The girl ended the call, but not before the agent saw her screen name. Rodriguez told the parole agent that the person on the phone was his girlfriend, but he later admitted she was only 14. Investigators allegedly found over 100 illegal images and 40 videos of children on the phone, which Rodriguez had not registered with authorities as required by his parole agreement. Prosecutors said Rodriguez had several social media apps on the phone that he did not tell authorities about, including accounts for YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Discord, and Reddit. The phone Rodriguez did tell officials about was found on the windowsill. Prosecutors said the agent found 2 apparently illegal images on that device. During an interview with a Chicago police detective, Rodriguez allegedly admitted to being caught while pleasing himself as he was on a video call with a 14-year-old girl he met on a specific website. They later moved their conversation to Discord. The sick, depraved, R. Kelly wannabe thug goofy gang member also admitted to having sexual conversations within the 5 days before his arrest with girls between the ages of 14 and 16 on Discord and the website, according to prosecutors. Investigators recovered the Discord chat between Rodriguez and the 14-year-old and found Rodriguez had made explicit sexual comments and requests of the girl, according to the proffer. Prosecutors have charged Rodriguez with possession of child pornography, violating the terms of the sex offender registry, and indecent solicitation of a child via the internet.